This Sunday, we begin a new season. Actually, we began that season last Wednesday on Ash Wednesday, and it's our Lenten journey. And I would hasten to remind you that Lent comes from the old Saxon word lengthen, and it's the idea that the days are lengthening, it's springtime. Lent has come to really have a lot of negative and dreary associations in our culture, and that's not the longer tradition of the Christian church. For much of and even the majority of our Christian tradition, Lent was a joyful time of preparation. Just like Advent was a joyful time of preparation for Christmas, Lent was a counterpart, a balance in that as a joyful preparation for Easter. This was a time when new converts were prepared for baptism on the great vigil of Easter. So it really has much more to do with the renewing of the earth, the lengthening of the days, the blooming of flowers. Lent is a time of renewal and for making space to be with God and aware of God's presence. So we invite you to join with us in that Lenten journey of awareness and of joy. We'll start off this first Sunday in the Lenten season with a hymn that really talks all through the life of Christ through that lens of that sacrificial love, that example that he gave for how God extends a reach out to us, calling us towards himself. And it's the text, "O love, how deep, how broad, how high, how passing thought and fantasy, that God, the Son of God, should take our mortal form and for mortal's sake." And it's matched here. This is a very ancient text. It was probably written sometime in the 15th century, probably heavily influenced by Thomas à Kempis, although probably almost certainly not composed by Thomas à Kempis, but very much influenced by that great poet. And it's matched with a similar aged melody from the French tradition. And again, the whole of the text, all 6 verses, which go by fairly quickly, all talk about Christ's life and how it exemplifies that reach, that loving reach that God extends to us. Something that's a really wonderful way to start off our Lenten journey thinking about. Through the season of Lent, we'll be using some service music written by David Hurd. David is a very active church musician in New York City. He's taught at General Theological Seminary and has a lot of interest in traditional music as well as jazz and other contemporary expressions. We have several of his hymn tunes in the hymnal that we sing. He wrote a setting of all the Eucharistic music, service music, that he called New Plain Song. And the idea is that it was sort of a 20th, at that time, it was written in around 1980, a 20th century version of Gregorian chant. They're very simple lines, and it gives us, again, that feeling of space to meditate and to reflect. We introduced these pieces last year. David really encourages us to sing them without any organ accompaniment, but we'll start off. He did write organ accompaniments, and so we will start off with those organ accompaniments in the early weeks, and then maybe as we get more familiar with them, we'll let the organ fall away. So we started introducing these last year. This year, we're going to add the Kyrie eleison at the beginning of the Eucharist service. And that text, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison. Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy, Lord have mercy. So we encourage you, especially in the early weeks, to listen to the choir, but please feel free to join in and carry that prayer, that petition with us as we get more familiar with that. The Holy, 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 the Sanctus, the Memorial Acclamation, and the Fraction Anthem, Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us, all come from that setting. So we hope that as you begin your Lenten journey, you will join us here at St. John's, joining us in the chapel at 8 a.m. for Rite 1, or in the church at 10:30 for Rite 2, Holy Eucharist.